Welcome to this video about working with cameras and objects in Maxwell Studio. Maxwell cameras behave just like real cameras and they have the same parameters as a normal SLR camera. Use Alt and left mouse button to rotate, Alt and middle mouse button to pan, and Alt and right mouse button to zoom. Use Shift and Alt and left mouse button to rotate the camera around its own axis instead of around its target. Use Ctrl and Alt and the mouse buttons for a more precise rotation, panning or zooming. The right-click menu allows you to automatically center the camera to the selected object. The focal distance specifies the distance from the camera to the point where the render will be in perfect focus. Create a default plane material. You can apply it to a group of objects by selecting them and dragging from the materials list. As we put the target of the camera far behind the cup, it appears out of focus. Right-click in the viewport and choose Autofocus to move the camera target to the front of the cup. Make a test render. The front of the cup is now in perfect focus. The rest of the scene is gradually out of focus as the distance from the camera target increases. For more information on controlling the depth of field of the camera, please see the Maxwell Render manual. The focal length determines the field of view of the camera. Higher focal lengths flatten the perspective and create a binocular effect. Smaller focal lengths allow you to capture more of your scene. Lock exposure can be useful if you want to change the f-stop or shutter speed while keeping the same exposure for your scene. Several camera presets are available to quickly set the correct film back size for a particular film or digital sensor. Set clip planes are useful for cutting parts of your geometry in your scene. The geometry will still influence the lighting in the scene, but anything in front of and behind the set clip planes will be invisible to the camera. This is useful, for example, if you wish to render a cross-section of a building. Shift lens mimics the behavior of real light shift lenses by shifting the front of the lens up and down or left or right. This is useful for architectural renders where you want to create a two-point perspective. To create a two-point perspective, make sure the camera is perfectly level by setting the camera and camera target to the same height. Adjust the shift lens offset to translate the camera lenses and get a render without a vertical vanishing point. You can switch cameras by double-clicking on them in the camera list panel or choosing them from the viewport drop-down menu. Each viewport can be switched to an orthographic view by hitting the icons at the top of the viewport. The shading mode can be set using the shading mode drop-down. Let's talk about working with objects in Maxwell Studio. Objects can be selected directly by clicking on them in the viewport or using the Object List panel. Shift adds to the selection, Control removes from it. Click-drag a selection to select several objects at once. Isolate selection can be useful to work more easily with a few objects in a complex scene. Center Scene centers the viewport to display the whole scene, while Center Selection centers the view on the selected object. Objects can be grouped together for easier manipulation. Materials applied at group level will also be applied to the group's children. By holding the Shift key while dragging a material, it is not applied down to the children objects. Objects can also be grouped under other objects by dragging and dropping. Groups can also be grouped under another object. You can drag objects in the objects list to arrange groups or parent them. Drag an object over another to make it a child in a parent hierarchy. Local transformation mode is always relative to the object. World transformation mode is always relative to the world coordinates. Transforming objects in world coordinates mode can be useful, especially for rotations. Pressing Shift and Enter in the Position, Rotation, Scale fields will set all three to the same value. The Appearance section contains several important options, including hiding an object to the camera and setting the smoothing angle and normals direction. The Object List panel has options for locking an object to prevent accidentally moving it, and quick hiding, unhiding of an object or a group. This was just a quick tour. For more information about working with cameras and objects in Maxwell Studio, please see the Maxwell Render Manual. Thank you for watching this video.